Okay, well, let's move on now. That's a little local update of what's going on. You know, there'll be more as the weeks and months go by, and they think we're not paying attention and all that. So we'll keep up on that, the local stuff. I want to move to national stuff, folks. President Obama and Nancy Pelosi are just completely ignorant fools. You can't believe some of the things they honestly believe. I mean, I'm torn between whether they're being honest in these. I have three clips I'm going to show you here of them talking about the economy. And I'm torn between are they really being serious with what they're saying? Because the things they're saying are so far-fetched, they're so unbelievably idiotic that I can't believe our elected officials are really this stupid. First, to Speaker Pelosi. Now, you'd think, folks, there's a lot of ways to inject, to beef up the economy. I think government spending is the worst, not the best. It's the worst thing because every dollar taken by the government is a dollar taken and spent by the government is a dollar taken out of the private sector. It's the worst way to stimulate the economy. Now, can you get, some economic activity if you throw enough money at something? Well, probably, but ultimately in the long run, that is not how you grow an economy. You don't grow an economy by throwing money at it. Now, Speaker Pelosi not only thinks you grow the economy by throwing money at it, but listen to what she has to say here about the two best things that we can do for the. Listen to this. Watch this.
A few years ago, when we wanted to put together a recovery package, we had a hearing in the Capitol, and we had, from right to left, the most conservative economists and all the way across the spectrum. And what they told us that day is that if you want to create jobs, the quickest way to do it is to provide more funding for food stamps and have unemployment insurance for people who have lost their jobs through no fault of their own. I think there's some subliminal message that is being sent out there about us and them, meaning people who need food stamps and the rest of the country, that I think is an unfortunate course to go down. It's the biggest bang for the buck when you do food stamps.
Did you hear that? Wait a minute. I mean, I'm not sure. Now, I don't know. Again, maybe I should give Speaker Pelosi a little credit. Maybe she's being honest here. These liberals from San Francisco. I wonder, if that's what they really think. I mean, you honestly think, folks, think about it for a minute. Giving somebody food stamps and unemployment. I mean, first off, think of what she said. We had economists and experts from left and right, and they all told us the same thing. Yeah, bull. What do you want to bet that's true? Yeah, I'm sure the economists on the far right told you to have more food stamps. Right, I'll bet. In other words, you had a bunch of Democrats, a rhino, and somebody else who worked for President Ford back in the 70s. That's the kind of panel you put together, and then it falls under the banner of bipartisanship. But the whole idea that giving people food stamps and unemployment is an economic stimulant is something I cannot believe came out of an adult's mouth. Think about it. So the best thing we can do for the economy is to give people food stamps and unemployment. So quit your jobs, folks. Quit your jobs. Go on unemployment for life, because the Democrats will just extend it for 100 years. I mean, because if you don't want to, you're uncaring, unfeeling, you're heartless. Well, that's what you'll get called. Been called it before. And somebody, you think that food stamps are the best thing that you can give to, I mean, folks, I know it's funny and you're probably chuckling to yourself, but how many people are getting, this is a big problem. How many people are getting free stuff from the government? Of course, nothing's free, but I mean, how many people, think about it, how many people are getting Social Security, Medicare, some other form of government health care, which we have all these programs, Medicaid, S-CHIP, Minnesota Care, now Osamba Care, all aimed at the same, demographic of people. How many people are on some sort of unemployment, some sort of, oh, I'm sorry, it's not welfare now, it's assistance. How many people are, employed by the government? It's probably well over 50%. Well over 50% of this country is either employed or getting something from the government. That's very dangerous. Extremely dangerous. I mean, I'm in the minority here on this. I mean, you'd think that, and look, at some point this is just going to explode. I mean, it's like public education. At some point the whole system will just implode. It can't continue the way it's going down. Same thing with the public unions, the pensions, and all that. Someday it's just going to blow up. So we're heading down that path pretty quick, though. But the idea that we're going to stimulate the economy by paying people to not work and having somebody else cook your dinner for you is so delusional, it's almost beyond belief. Now, President Obama continues here, and he talks about giving a little stump speech here, which obviously didn't work too well, gives a speech on who is to blame for the economic problems that we have. Guess who he blames? Watch this.
The hole we're climbing out is so deep. The Republicans messed up so bad, left such a big mess, that there are still millions of Americans without work.
Oh, it was Republicans that screwed it up, huh? Who's controlled Congress for the last 4 years? President Obama. Who's been president for the last 2 years? You sit there and whine and bitch and moan about the bailout. You voted for it when you were a senator. What bills, Senator, when you were a senator for what, 3 or 4 weeks, did you propose to deal with the economy, Mr. President? Can you name one? What did you do for the 4 years you were a senator to improve the economy, the housing market? Can you name anything? You sat there and whined like the little crybaby you are. And to blame Republicans, I've said this before, for 2 years, the Democrats have had control of the White House, control of the House by what, 65 seats? Something in that neighborhood, 70? And you've had, what, 59 senators. So how are Republicans to blame? You voted for the bailout, you put on your stupid stimulus, health care, all your auto bailouts, so-called financial reform, where Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac are let go, and they're not a part of that, but your Wells Fargo or somebody is, and somebody else is to blame. This president is a wimp. He won't take responsibility. Now, look, I don't expect him to go out there and say, well, yeah, I'm the reason everything failed. You can at least be honest about it. You can at least try that once in a while. Listen to this next clip. This, again, I'm so sick and tired of this job saved business. Because, again, what he's talking about are government employees, where every dollar that, and again, I don't have anything personal against them, but you don't stimulate the economy by taking from the private sector and giving to the public sector. It just doesn't work. But here's the president with his delusional, diabolical almost, rendition of how well the economy is doing and how he ought to get the credit. Listen to this.
Our economy is growing again. The private sector created jobs 9 months in a row now. There are 3 million Americans who would not be working today if not for the economic plan that Joe and I put into place. That's the truth.
Well, really, so we've saved 3 million jobs. The private sector's added jobs for 9 months in a row. Mr. President, let me remind you of something. The unemployment rate when you took office was 7.5%. Now, again, that's not all his fault. I'm not saying that. The unemployment rate right now is 9.6. It's gone up 2 percentage points since you have took office. That is fact, Mr. President.